out over a mountainside. Now, when I hear rope swing, I think water. So I was ready for water. And I put my swimsuit on, and then I put my shorts on, and I put my tie-dye t-shirt on, and I was ready to go off a rope swing into water. There was no water. What there was a ginormous and terrifying 14-foot drop down a mountainside. But I have a secret, guys. There were some really cute boys at this single adult activity, and I really wanted to impress them. I mean, I really wanted to impress them. And so I thought, what's the best way to impress boys? I'm a little bit of a tomboy, I just mentioned that. And my theory was, how do you impress boys? You keep up with them. And whatever they do, you do too. This served me well through years of touch football and tackle football. And so I figured that this was perfectly applied on a rope swing. And so I am swinging out on this rope swing, having a great time, and for every moment that I feel scared, I tell myself, it's worth it, there are cute boys. It's worth it, there are cute boys. So we're about ready to wrap up for the night. The sun's starting to go down, and they're all telling us we need to wrap up and we need to go back. And so as my final courageous act, I decided that I was gonna jump on the rope swing with my feet and then swing out over the mountain. Because what screams tomboy and like keeping up with the boys than watching all of these 20-year-old guys jump on it too with their feet, swing out with full momentum, and then come rushing back in. So that's a perfect way to impress them. I know that I'm going to impress them. Remember, I'm 18. And so I have my brother who is there with me hold the rope. And he's holding the rope for me. And I'm like, you hold it. I'm going to jump up with my feet. That was not the most coordinated. You hold it, and I'll jump up, and then I'll swing out, and it'll be great. So I went to jump up, and my feet slipped off the rope, and I went, ah! And my brother, thinking that was a perfect signal for, yes, she's on, let go. All of me, as you just saw, so all of me went swinging out over that by the sheer strength of my hands. I get to about as far out as you can possibly go, and my feet and start dragging, the weight of my feet and the weight of the body start dragging me off the rope. I get out as far as you can possibly go, and my hand, my grip strength, finally gives way, and I go flying through the air. Not flying, I wish it was flying. If it was flying, I would have landed much more gracefully. No, this was a drop. I drop 14 feet, land on my stomach and my elbow, and go sliding down the mountainside into a fallen tree. You know, they always talk about how time slowed down? Time didn't slow down. I went whooshing and dropping and smacking with all force of me, and time did not slow down. And I look up to see my brother and my sister go, Allison, are you alive? And I'm just looking at them like, I wish I wasn't. So there's a blanket down on the back seat. We drive and navigate our way down to a hospital that's like 45 minutes away on an hour and a half probably, in deer-infested canyon roads to get to a hospital where they take one look at me and said, we'd really like to admit you, but the on-call doctor says no, so we're gonna hide you in a back room of the hospital so no one knows you're here. So they stitch my elbow up, they check, they realize that I have bruised my spleen, but it's not ruptured, thank goodness. And I spend the night in a rather chilly hospital. Now you might be asking yourself at this point, what in the world does a 14-foot fall have to do with emotional first aid? And how these two things go together is because when you have broken ribs, you have 16 stitches in your elbow, and you've almost ruptured your spleen, and you're an 18-year-old girl who absolutely loves softball, and you only get to play it 3 months out of the year, that summer was the longest of my life. Because ribs take time to heal, elbows take time to heal, and it took a really long time to heal that summer. I missed out on all the softball, I missed out on all the fun, because in one moment that I thought would be truly epic, instead I ended up at the bottom of the mountainside with a whole bunch of bruises and bumps and cuts. Sometimes we miss out on things in life because something happened to us that caused us injury. Sometimes that's a 14-foot fall off of a swing. Sometimes that is a moment of cruelty from someone that we care about. Sometimes it's some moment that came out of nowhere that rocks the very foundations of who we are. And for some strange reason, we think that because you can't see it, it's going to heal fast. My ribs were the my broken ribs were the one thing you couldn't see, and they are the one thing that took the absolute longest to heal. And so people would come to me and say, hey, you should come play, we should go do this. And I'd be like, nope, I'm gonna go sit on the couch. Because even though they couldn't see it, I knew that they hurt. I would lay a guess that every person in this room has something that hurts that people can't see. And because people can't see it, they assume it does not exist. They assume that because there is a smile on your face most of the time, that everything is wonderful and glorious and beautiful for you. And they don't understand why sometimes you set limits for yourself. They don't understand why sometimes you say no when you would really love to be saying yes. And so today I want to help you learn to accept that things take time. Now I want to also ask you guys, and this is personally a rhetorical question I want you to think about, but it is also a question that I would like your thoughts on too. What is the difference between a broken mug and unfired clay that is in a lump because the person who had it on the spinner messed up? A lot of times in our lives we think that something happened that makes us broken. We think that, or maybe this is just me, maybe I'll just speak for myself. Something has happened and I now perceive myself as broken. Something's wrong with me. I need to fix it. I need to make it better. A lot of times when we see a broken mug, you hear that shatter off in the distance and you go, oh no, what broke? And you go and you pick up all the pieces and you glue the pieces back together. You can still tell that that mug broke, can't you? Because you see all the seams in it from the glue. You see all the stuff that's there. And so the difference for me, and as Christine brought up, is that a broken mug is always going to be broken. You're always going to see the seams. It'll still work. It'll still do what you want it to do, but you'll always tell that it was broken. A lump of clay that got messed up on, but is now going to be reworked, doesn't bear the scars of what broke, so to speak. It doesn't show the pattern break, it doesn't show the problem, but it also still has the memory of what happened to it. And so I want you guys to just kind of think about that difference. The difference between something that is hard and solid and that shatters and breaks, that's glued back together, and something that is malleable and something that has the potential to be reworked and to be healed. This also applies to when you mend a broken fence. You have a fence that you see some cracks in it, but you paint over the cracks because you are hoping that the paint will be enough to fix it. But the next time a good wind comes up, that fence is still broken. Doesn't matter how nice it looks if it's still broken. So instead of choosing to think we have to fix something, I would invite you guys to think of it in new terms, of that instead of being broken, you're simply something in need of healing. And that it's not that you have to set out to fix yourself, you are setting out to allow yourself to heal. I don't suppose if you've ever had that you put a Band-Aid on a cut and you're going, yes, it's healing. I cleaned it out with peroxide, I cleaned it out with Neosporin, I got a Band-Aid on it, we're good as gold, right? But then you pull the Band-Aid off about three days later and it's gone all green, it's gone all icky, it's gone all gross, and you have to clean it off. My sister played softball in high school. I saw a lot of those. That just didn't look so good. And so as you think, everybody close your eyes for just a second. Oh, I love it, you guys are so responsive. This is fantastic. And I want you to think about something that has happened to you in your life. It can be last week, it can be 6 years ago, it can be whenever. I just want you to think of something. And then, what does that look like in your mind? What do you see in your mind? When I think about things that are painful in my mind, generally I see a bump. I see something that's bright red and it doesn't look very good. And that is why when we say we're gonna fix it, that's us thinking that we're just going to forget that it exists, we're going to brush over it, and we're gonna move on. That idea of, oh, you're just gonna get over it, or you're gonna pull through it, or you're gonna get out from under it. This idea that if you work hard enough, this thing is just going to go away. But what I have learned is that if there is stuff inside of you, that's inside of you, it's not just going to go away. You can't just get over it, because as you move on in your life and as you move forward, there's going to be more stuff that triggers it. It's this big red bump inside of you, and some new experience happens 6 years down the road that nudges the bump. And it's going to hurt just as painfully then as it did 5 years ago, because you thought you could just get over it or push past it or get through it. We aren't mugs being glued because we're broken. We're not infected cuts on our arms that are just gross. We are, however, human. Sometimes we hurt. Sometimes things happen. What I want to fix you is not what I want to teach is how to fix you, because fixing doesn't work. What I want to help you understand is how your mind works and how things are going on in your subconscious that affect your conscious that then cause you to trigger when things happen. You might be asking yourself, what is a mindset? What is that word? How does that actually work? A mindset is also previous programming. So you know how computers work. You input a specific program, you input specific code, and then that computer does what you told it to do through that program. It's running a specific pattern of events because of what you put into it. That's then what you get out of it. Your brain works the exact same way. A lot of times as we try something new, we try a new habit. Last month was January. Hopefully we all set some goals or hopes for ourselves. And a lot of people say, I set this goal, I set this effort. How come I'm not getting anything out of it? How come it's not going anywhere? And it's because you might have set in your mind, in your conscious mind, that you wanted to have something happen. You wanted to try this new thing. I tried for 1.5 years to go to bed at 10 o'clock every night. And every night I told myself, I'm gonna go to bed at 10 o'clock. And every night I would walk into that bedroom and lay on my bed at 11:07. Because what I had told myself for 3 years was you go to bed after 11. What I was trying to tell myself all of a sudden was, but you can go to bed at 10 o'clock. So when we're trying to tell our brain, give it new information, give it a new program to run, we're telling our brain, ooh, you should do this pretty shiny new thing. And our brain goes, but we're really good at this thing we have always done. We are really good at doing this pattern because you have been inputting this pattern for us for decades. So we're just going to keep running this program that you told us to run. But there's hope, because our brains are flexible things. They are really good at doing what we tell them to do. So if you want them to run a new program, you just need to get really good at consistently giving it a new program. You need to be really good at continually and consistently say nope, 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 and just say, we're not going this way, we're going this way, because we're going to try something new. And as you tell your brain, let's do something new, your brain then says, but wait, we don't know how to do this new thing. We don't have the knowledge, we don't have the experience, we don't know how to get the knowledge and experience, so we're going to go back. And do you know what you do then? answer, Kate. What you do then is you say, thank you for the report, put it on the shelf, and then you say, so let's go get some training. Let's go find it out. Let's find someone to talk to try this new thing. Let's keep building in our mind what this idea is so that we gain experience of this new thing. Let's gain knowledge and memory of this new thing to make it natural and to make it normal. So if you're still not quite sure about this idea of old programming, because a lot of people don't actually know what's going on inside of their head. They just kind of know that they wake up in the morning and they have habits and they have things that they do. And they're very comfortable having these habits and doing what they do and knowing what they're doing.